Sarah was laughing when it happened, one hand on her belly, the morning sun soft on her face. She was scolding the goats for chewing on the rake again. I was squinting into the light halfway through repairing the barn door hinge when I heard the gravel crunch behind me. Then came the voice, sharp nasal, the kind that could curdle milk. Karen. I didn't even look at her at first. She shouted something about unauthorized gatherings and pregnancy livestock violations nonsense. Then, without warning, Karen marched up and kicked my pregnant wife in the side. Sarah gasped, stumbling back against the gate. I dropped the wrench. The world slowed. Her hands clutched her belly, eyes wide with pain and shock. Karen stood, arms folded like she'd just done her civic duty. I knelt beside Sarah, murmuring her name, trying not to panic. She shook her head, whispering she was okay, but her voice trembled behind me. Karen kept talking about HOA livestock codes and how she was within her rights. I stood, walked slowly to the tool bench. She probably thought I was grabbing a shovel. I grabbed my old state trooper radio. Instead, it had been years, but I kept it charged. Unit 4 to base, emergency on private land, pregnant woman assaulted, need backup, static. Then dispatch 10-4, rolling code 3 that you kell trooper Jalen en route for minutes. Karen laughed. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I was just a rancher with cowboy cause play. She didn't know the badge I used to wear. She didn't know the man en route was someone I once dragged from a burning car. Sarah was now seated on a hay bale, breathing deeply. I knelt again beside her. She squeezed my hand. We're okay. It's just Karen. She can't hurt us. If only. Karen, realizing help was coming, pulled out her phone and started filming. She narrated like a bad reality show host, pretending she'd been attacked while enforcing code. Her voice quivered with fake fear. She zoomed in on Sarah, the barn, the goats. She lied with the confidence of someone who thought she'd never been caught. Neighbors arrived. Mrs. Dallow from the lavender farm, Pete from a couple plots over. A few teenagers parked their dirt bikes nearby. Karen's voice got louder. She accused Sarah of staging at me, of playing sheriff. I didn't speak. I just listened for the sirens. They came slow at first, then louder. Karen faltered. Confusion crept in. Then the black and white SUV appeared, driving past the gate, kicking up gravel. Trooper Jalen stepped out, tall, broad sunglasses on. He looked past Karen, nodded at me. Karen smiled and approached, saying she needed protection. Jalen ignored her. He walked straight to Sarah, asked if she needed an ambulance. No, just needed to sit. Then he turned to me. Explain. I did clean. No drama. Sarah, the kick, the footage, the witnesses, the land well outside HO. Reach. Karen interrupted. Jalen raised a hand. Ma'am, step back. This is a criminal investigation now. Karen blanched for the first time. Her smugness slipped. Jalen asked for documentation. I pointed to the barn office. Karen tried to block him. Jalen stepped between, moved her aside. Sarah whispered, I think the baby kicked. I smiled. So did Justice. Karen stood in our driveway like a principal ready to hand out detentions, but this wasn't her school, and the law had arrived. Jalen radioed for backup, not because he needed it, but for procedure. Karen had trespassed, assaulted a pregnant woman, and was doubling down. Sarah rested on a bench, sipping water. Her color was better. I stayed close. Karen shouted about unlawful detainment, waved her phone, claimed she was on the state HOA compliance committee, ranted codes from a laminated sheet in her purse. Livestock noise, fence height, dirt color. John asked calmly, Ma'am, where does HOA jurisdiction end? She pointed vaguely. He handed her a parcel map. It showed our land, clearly marked non-HOA agricultural exempt. Karen looked around. The crowd had grown. Some leaned on fence posts. Pete brought popcorn. Someone was filming. Karen felt the shift. She tried tears, claimed a dog attacked her. We had no dog, said Sarah. Threatened her, said she was invited, pointed at me. John didn't bother writing that down. I fetched the manila folder, deeds, exemption letters, zoning maps. Jalen flipped through, nodded. He turned to Karen. Ma'am, your trespassing witness statements and video confirm assault. You're being cited. Karen whispered, I'm on the board. I keep this place civilized. If I don't enforce order, who will? Jalen handed her the citation, told her to leave or be detained. She looked to the crowd. No sympathy, just silence. The goats bleated as if on cue. Is this how this town works? She snapped. Animals and retirees run it. No ma'am, Jalen replied. The law does. Karen left, muttering about lawsuits. Jalen asked Sarah again about the hospital. She declined. As Karen crossed the property line, the younger trooper whistled. She's a one-woman lawsuit generator. That wasn't a complaint, Jalen said. That was a demolition attempt. Dispatch crackled again. More backup was en route. Sarah leaned on me. The baby kicked again. Peace returned slowly, but we knew she wasn't done. Not yet. The next day Karen returned, not onto the land, but near the road. She wore a beige windbreaker, fake badge, giant sunglasses, held a clipboard with a printed sheet. Community Environmental Safety Patrol. She narrated about unregulated animal waste and airborne pollen threats. I stood at the gate, said nothing. She accused me of contaminating HOA land with wildflowers. I turned on the voice recorder the troopers gave me. She rushed toward the goat pen. Captain, our goat, known for eating paper and hating strangers, took notice. Karen leaned in with her clipboard. Captain snatched a paper. Karen shrieked, stumbled, slipped in wet grass, and fell backward into the ditch. Clipboard flew, phone skidded, splash, frogs leapt. I covered my mouth to hide the laugh. Pete, walking up, burst out laughing. Karen crawled from the ditch, soaked windbreaker, ruined sunglasses Gone clipboard chewed. She didn't speak. She limped off silently. Later Trooper Jalen called. The judge approved the restraining order. Karen would be served. Neighbors had submitted complaints. She'd fined people for tomato plants. Blue tables. Her power trip was documented. Sarah laughed. When I told her about the goat, she said the baby kicked from joy. The troopers returned with paperwork, posted it at the gate. Karen didn't appear again that day. That evening Sarah and I sat outside. We talked baby names. She liked Rose, I liked June. We agreed on strength, quiet strength like hers. Captain chewed the last scrap of Karen's clipboard. Nearby we raised a glass to him. The courthouse hearing came quickly. Sarah looked radiant in blue. Karen showed up in a neck brace, black dress, and forced innocence. The judge, old and sharp, listened. Our lawyer laid it out. Video, audio, witnesses, documents. Karen's lawyer tried sympathy, claimed confusion. Karen stood, spoke without permission, claimed she protected the neighborhood. The judge shut it down, asked Sarah if she wanted to speak. She did. She told the truth calmly. The room fell silent. Verdict: guilty. Misdemeanor assault, trespass, fines, probation, community service, restraining order extended. Karen twitched. Her lawyer whispered. She stared at Sarah, as if finally realizing who she tried to hurt. We left. Neighbors cheered. Pete gave Sarah wildflowers. Judge Pickett later sent a note, handwritten, said, "Strength often speaks quietly." He drew a lily, no signature. Karen's house went up for sale. New neighbors waved as we passed one sunset. I held Lily at the fence. Sarah planted flowers nearby. Captain nuzzled the post. I whispered the story to Lily. She smiled, purse, and when bullies retstron.